Woo, that opening gets me every time, and you know what time it is. What's up, fam? It's your boy, Anthony Grayfield, and we are back for episode 2 of Ant-Archy. So, if you missed the previous episode, we went over men's mental health. Let me ask you something real quick. Did you check up on somebody? Did you check up on a brother, a dad, a stepdad, a coworker, whoever? Because I hope you did, and I hope they're having a great time. Now, let us get into episode 2. We will be talking about youth sports. Do you hate it? Do you love it? There a passion for it? Do you see a problem? Well, I'm about to tell you why you should put your team in sports, and maybe why you shouldn't. But today I have some crazy characters with me today. I have Leon Thomas along with a new guest, his first time on the show. So let's bring him on, Leon Thomas and DJ, a former friend who I went to school with. How we doing, boys? What's going on? Talk to me. What's up?
How you doing, Anthony? I'm glad to be here, man. I appreciate you reaching out and giving me the opportunity to come on your show, man. I'm very honored, man.
Anthony, good to be here. Thanks again for the invitation. Looking forward to a good conversation.
Oh yes, oh yes. I know there's some fellas out there that would love to talk about youth sports, and we can all see that there's a problem with it. So that kind of leads me into my first question. When we think about youth sports, what do you see either pros or cons between youth sports? Whether it don't matter what sport it is. DJ, you want to go first?
Sure. Now, of course, when I think about youth sports, the biggest thing I always think about it and concern myself with is health, like whether it's mental, emotional, social, or physical. So I would say some of the pros is it gives kids an opportunity to seek that inner animal in them. Like if he's a football player, if he wants to be a certain position on the team, it gives them an opportunity to really sit back, watch the big leagues, watch, what they're going to be getting into. So therefore, when they get on the field, when they, try to get on the team, they can know what it takes to get on the team. They can know what it takes to be on that field and not hesitate. When you're running plays, when you're trying to win the game, when you get to tournaments and big games in front of big audiences, in front of families, the pros is it prepares them for that kind of field. Also, for if they make it to an actual NFL team, now they're in the bigger leagues and playing in front of big stadiums and all that. And like I said, some of the cons may be, things like lack of motivation. Some kids may try to get into a sport, but they're not truly motivated to get in there. They're lacking leadership, a mentor. Maybe their body is not in the best condition. Maybe they need to work out a little bit to get their body right so that the sport they want to get into, they can be fully well conditioned to play that sport. So there's a bunch of pros and cons to youth sports, but I always mainly look at the pros and the opportunity that opens up for a younger generation.
I completely agree with you, DJ. But the one thing where I don't see is that if you focus too much on the pros, then you'll really forget about the cons. There's always going to be disadvantages, or there's always going to be consequences somewhere. You can't just focus on the pros and then expect the cons to be non-existent. If you ask me, the pros that I see is that you're getting kids out of the house, you're having them get into a team environment, and you're letting them find out, do they really want to be in sports? Leon, let me hear your thoughts on this. What do you believe are some pros and cons in youth sports today?
I'll start with the pros. One, it teaches teamwork. It helps kids learn group dynamics. It provides exercise, physical activity, and in many sports, not every sport, but some sports, kids can learn to play what I call lifetime sports. That they can learn it when they're 8 years old and they can still play when they're 50, 55, maybe even 60 years old. I think it's great for them to work with others to have a common goal of success. Those are some of the positives. Some of the negatives I see are it's too much pressure. I see parents putting too much pressure on kids. I see coaches not coaching kids the right way, putting too much pressure on them. And I also see parents, administrators, even in some cases, and coaches where they're really focusing on Sports, 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 and there's too much time involved in sports.
That is a beautiful explanation, Leon. You took the words right out of my mouth. There's way too much pressure onto kids in youth sports today. So, as a coach, I can say that I've seen kids get flustered because they didn't get a first down for me. They missed a pass, or if something ever happened, then um it would kind of get them flustered in a way to where they can't perform in either this down or the next. So, moving on, I have another question. Leon, let's start with you because you did mention this. Why do you think there's so much pressure into kids in youth sports?
Well, I think first, a lot of that pressure comes from parents. That the parents say little things and they don't recognize that it's really a big thing in the kid's mind. Let me give you an example. For baseball, let's say, and the parent pays the $300 fee for the kid to play. They buy the cleats, the glove, the bat, they purchase uniforms, they pay all of this money for them to travel. And now the parent is expecting some level of success from their kid in baseball, and it doesn't happen. And mom and dad's talking to someone on the phone, they're talking to another. All of this money I spent, and he doesn't even play. All this money I spent, and he doesn't even work at improving. All this money I spent, and he's not. All this money I spent, and she doesn't. On and on and on. And the kids, they say that where kids can hear it, and kids feel pressure. We have to stop putting this pressure on kids on sports. We've just got to stop it. And that's just one way that I think parents are applying too much pressure.
Very well explained, Leon. I love how you went into deep dive on how much money the parents are actually putting into their kids getting into sport. So, DJ, let me get your thoughts on it. Why do you think there's so much pressure on kids in youth sports today?
Well, first and foremost, I would say that I do want to piggyback off what Leon said. I do agree that parents play a big role in putting a lot of pressure on kids, but I also have seen and experienced kids not even having a choice to play sports. There's some parents out here that force their kids to do sports in all areas, and they don't even know what they're doing. They don't know like what the play is. They don't know what the gameplay is. They don't even know. They're just out there in frozen ice. So what that does is you're putting your kid in a position where they can be taken advantage of because they're in a sport in a field that they're not familiar with. They didn't get the practice, they didn't study it. So along with money, there's that aspect. But then there's also the aspect of sometimes when kids play sports, it can kind of benefit other people, benefit the school, benefit the parents, and either a financial way and getting the school's name out there. And sometimes, pushing the kid is one thing, but when you're putting too much pressure on them, it can make them not even want to play that sport anymore. It can make them not even want to be in that field. So I always tell people, if you're going to try to put a little pressure on someone, make sure it's just enough, but it's not too much to the point where you're now pushing the motivation, the encouragement, and also the inspiration to be in that sport away from the kid, all because it's something you want. And you're not giving the kids the opportunity to express, hey, do I want to be in the sport? Do I really want to do this? And then on top of that, it's a waste of time. The kid doesn't want to do it if they're being too pressured to do it. And time waits for no one. And time is the one thing that we cannot get back.
Yes, DJ, this is a great explanation. I love the answers I'm getting tonight. So this next question is kind of a two-parter. I was thinking of questions what to ask tonight, and I'm saying this question is kind of the same of what I said earlier. But first part is, what do you believe the role is of a coach in youth sports? And the second parter is, what do you think the coach's mindset should be? Leon, let's start with you.
I think the coach's role is going to change based on the kid that they're coaching. Not
Mm-hmm.
every kid needs the same thing from a coach, and I'm talking from a mental perspective and a life perspective. Yes, every coach should coach skills, should teach the game, to teach kids to play their sport safely in a manner that shows a high level of sportsmanship. Yes, every coach should do that. But every coach should also develop a relationship with their players so that they get to know them better, they get to know the family better, and really understand what that kid needs for life. Is it that this kid needs a confidence boost, right? And that's one of the things that mom and dad was hoping for when the kid signed up for sports. Is this a kid who really thinks they have a chance to make it to the pros, and the coach is going to kind of push him into that angle? Is this a kid who needs socialization skills, and in which case the coach's job is to make sure he gets along with the other players? A coach is, it's just not coaching the sport at the youth level. There's so much more that a coach has to do. Now, Anthony, what was the second part to that question?
I got you, Leon. Maybe you weren't paying attention, but you were actually going on a good rant for a
I'm
second
just
there.
going off on that one thing
Hey,
here.
hey, hey, hey,
I'm
hey,
an
hey,
old man
hey,
here,
hey,
kind
I'm
of old
listening,
brother. A
man.
break.
Hey, you didn't
Give me a
listen to the
break.
second part of the question. Okay, but I got you, Leon. So the second part of the question is, what do you believe the coach's mindset should be?
The mindset for the coach they need to understand that kids are watching them and parents are watching them. They're on stage all the time. They have to recognize that. People are watching them, people are listening to every move that they make, and they're the leader. If a coach is going off on a referee, pretty soon the players are going to start doing it, and maybe even the parents. If the coach is yelling and screaming at kids, that changes the mindset, and the sometimes takes the fun out of the game. Let me tell you something, Anthony. You know that I'm a racquetball coach. I have 71 kids in the racquetball program that I run, and the facility we use is adjacent to an indoor soccer field. I saw a coach not too long ago have his kids sitting down in a huddle, and he stood up and he said, "You guys are the reason that I drink because you play so poorly. You're so bad at this. You're making me drink." And I'm like, "What?
Should have.
No, he's not saying this." And
Um,
this wasn't even a fun reaction to maybe a play that took place. "If you keep doing that, oh man, you're gonna drive me to drink. Come on, buddy, you do better." No, you guys are gonna. And the parents were
that's
sitting in the bleachers looking at this like that was okay. It's not.
I'm just at a loss. Hey, let me get a single shot real quick. Let me talk to my audience real quick. Let me just say this right now. Um, if you ever tell a kid and say you're the reason I drink, you shouldn't be a coach. There should be no reason. Hello, yeah. Give me back my single shot, man. There shouldn't be a reason that you're ever a coach. Me personally, I'm a flag football coach. Never have I ever told a kid and say the reason you didn't pull that flag is the reason I drink. I never said that. I would never say that to a child. The way that I approach children when they're playing flag football is they're learning the sport. I'm learning to teach kids from kindergarten, first, second, third, whatever. But telling a kid aggressively, "Oh, you're the reason I drink." Do you know how much, do you know how heavy that sounds? And let their parents hear it. I really want to know, if the parents hear you, what are they going to do next? If you're telling a kid you're the reason I drink, you probably shouldn't be a coach. Because even though I coach in a rec league, it's not that serious. Kids are there, kids are in sports to have fun, to actually see what they like and want to do, and what kids actually want to get into later on in life. Now, there's some sports out there to where they can take you professionally. They can you can get full scholarships and go into collegiately. There's schools like maybe at your local high school that they offer that sport. But for you to kind of diminish that kid's fire, burn, and passion to say you're the reason I drink, you should stop being a coach. Go be like a McDonald's worker or something. Go yell at somebody making a burger, but don't yell at no child. Talk about you're the reason I drink. All right, man, I'm done. That's my rant. Whew, took up a lot of time. So, Leon, That was a great explanation. I'm sorry, I had to go on my rant because that just sounded wild to me. I have a deep passion. Listen, DJ knows, Leon, you know the stories I tell you. I have a deep passion. No matter what age they are, the kindergarten, all the way up to 10th grade. I want to see them do great things in the next grade level and next one up. So, yes, that was a great, and I'm gonna actually come back to you, Leon, but I'm gonna ask DJ first. So, DJ, what do you believe is a role in coaches, and what mindset should they have in sports?
The role of a coach, at first and foremost, for any kind of coach in this world, should be when you're teaching and training youth of the younger generation. The role is to make these kids, these passionate kids for sports or for the game of football, whatever sport you play. The goal in the role is to teach them, to train them to be better than you. A lot of coaches out here fail to have that mindset because they want to teach kids to be just like them. But the ultimate goal is for them to be better, for you to not let the sky be the limit. Let them go past that. Let their minds go. So when you're going into the role of coaching, first and foremost, when you're dealing with kids, get to know these kids. Learn what their mindsets is. Learn their strengths. Learn their weaknesses so that that can help you as a coach train them, coach them to be the best that they can be. But I feel like when a coach only strongly focuses on one style of teaching, they eliminate all other styles because also people have to understand kids don't all learn the same. Some kids learn by watching videos, reading a book, writing it out. You have to include all these things when you're coaching. And the other thing I wanted to touch base on is the simple fact that when coaching, you can't be as aggressive as you're talking to a older guy when you're coaching, because a lot of kids respond differently when you're being aggressive, when you're yelling, when you're doing all that ruckus to a kid and when you're all in their face. Some kids take that as motivation, but some kids take that as, hey man, I'm not really feeling this, man. You're in my face. I get you want me to be great, but why are you in my face? Why are you yelling at me? Why, especially in front of the parents? Because like Anthony said, a coach yells at a kid's face and say, you're the reason I'm drinking. As a parent, oh no, this is not a good role model. This is not someone I can see pushing my son to get to the best point in their life. No. This is a person that's trying to blame a kid for a life problem that they've had for however long. So the point is, when you're coaching, the role is to make them better than you, not to be just like you or to be less than you, but to be better so you can see them go way past limits that probably you couldn't even reach. But that's the ultimate role of a coach. Now, if we're talking about the mindset of a coach, the mindset of a coach should be you're cloning yourself, but you're cloning the better version of yourself, almost like raising a kid. For example, when I was teaching younger kids how to dance, I was a dance teacher. I've been dancing for years. Assume my mindset going in meeting these kids was literally to clone myself, but literally make them way better than me, make them do things that I couldn't do, either because I didn't have the motivation, I didn't have the inspiration or the encouragement. So my mindset was to come in being better than the person I am today so that I can clone them, but it's still them. They're just way better than me. So I feel like the mindset always has to be, what can I do as a coach that'll benefit these kids, that'll make their time worth it, the money's worth it? What can I do to make them better than themselves and not just like me and not have to be all aggressive, be all in their face? Because times like that, it's needed. I strongly agree on that. Sometimes those aggressive remarks and those things are needed because sometimes it pushes kids, but not all kids learn that way. Not all kids can handle that. So as far as the role and the mindset, those are the two strong things I believe that it takes to be a coach.
That was a great explanation. And yes, I do agree with you, DJ, that coaches should be the person that if you're cloning yourself, but a better version of yourself. Um, I've had instances to where when I'm coaching a kid, whether they want to be a quarterback, a wide receiver, a running back, I didn't play any of those positions in high school. I was an O-line, D-line kind of guy, but I played enough backyard football to say, okay, I know what to do. I know how to get yardage. I know how to help my team win. So, Leon, going back to you, because I mentioned earlier that I want to come back to you. You mentioned that you coach racquetball, and it's actually called Racquetball Revival. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about racquetball revival and like things that you see, things that you experience, and how do you coach the kids?
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Anthony, for the opportunity to talk about Racquetball Revival. That is the name of our youth racquetball program in Baltimore. Our website is there on the screen, racquetballrevival.com. We have 71 kids, and each kid has a different story, a different reason that they're playing racquetball. Now, one of the things that we tell the parents and we tell our kids that we want them to have fun. I have on one of our racquetball shirts now, White Marsh Racquetball. That's the sponsoring county rec council who allows us to use the courts at the Northeast Regional Rec Center in Baltimore. On the back of my shirt, it says racquetball is fun. And that's the biggest thing we want our kids to do. We want them to have fun. Secondly, we want our kids to be safe. We want to teach them to play racquetball in a safe manner. When parents first find out we're teaching kids how to play racquetball, many parents say, "Oh, I don't want my kid to play." Like, what do you mean you don't want them to play? Yeah, I remember I played in college and I got hit. That's because no one taught you the right way. That's why. We teach them to wear eye guards, the tether around the wrist, and we teach them the proper way. But it's really not about racquetball. We could play racquetball for the rest of your life. I know some folks that are in their 90s that are still playing racquetball. The big thing for us is that we want kids to have fun and learn how to play a lifetime sport. We give them some opportunities for competition, our in-house tournaments, 3 or 4 times a year. We take them not too far away to Severna Park, Maryland, to play in events there. We don't push heavy travel, and racquetball is the only thing you have to do. But here's the thing that we're most proud of: we offer tutoring in English and math, and we have a counselor. We have two English tutors, a math tutor. Anthony, that's you. You're familiar with our program because you're our math tutor in our program, and we also offer counseling. We have we want to be able to help families and help kids in their entire life, not just racquetball. Now, however, don't get it misunderstood. Our kids are pretty good. We have some 6 and 7 year olds that hit the ball hard and they know how to play. And for our kids that are 14 and above, six of them in the last year at some point have been ranked in the top 30 in the adult division in the Maryland state rankings. So we're not talking about let's just come on out and play. Our kids get after it. We have some really, really, really good players also.
That is a great explanation, Leon. And yes, I am a math tutor for Racquetball Revival. Um, and when the opportunity was presented to me, I actually wanted to get into physical education because I still want to be a teacher in the school system. But I've also signed up to be a math teacher. So doing the math tutoring, it's actually giving me a little bit of insight on how just on a minuscule scale on teaching kids. You have to hold them accountable because sometimes they forget to do their homework. Sometimes they'll make excuses on when not to come to class or come to the sessions. So you have to stay composed and say, okay, I'm not gonna give up on them. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
give up on her. I'm
that's
always
right.
gonna I'm always going to
That's right.
be there for that person. If they
That's
ever
right.
have a question, I need to keep myself available. If they're not living up to my standards, if they're not living up to what I expect them to do, I'm not going to bash them for it. I'm going to let them make mistakes. But when they come back, I'm going to let them know, hey, you can't do this. So
And and
that's,
Anthony, also want to add, you are doing an outstanding job with the young man that you're working with. We can't say his name
mhm.
because of guidelines and all privacy guidelines, but
Of course.
you are
Hey,
doing an outstanding job with him. And I think I told you, and I want to tell the audience that when we checked in with the school, a couple of months ago, his math grade had increased, and they were like had improved, and they're like, oh, how does this? What are you doing? They're like, oh, I have a tutor through the racquetball program. Like, what? Through the racquetball program, a tutor? What's up with that? So thank you. You are doing an outstanding job with him. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, listen, to the person that he's talking about, I'm always gonna be here for you, dude. Anytime you ever have a math question, let me know. Just make sure it's not like calculus or above. I didn't take that in college. I didn't take calculus. If it's anything below calculus, I got you. But if it's calculus and up, calculus 1, 2, trigonometry, any of that, don't ask me. But moving on. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I do want to say that Leon, you did mention that in Racquetball Revival. What was it that you guys want to have fun? You guys want to emphasize the kids getting better and getting coached. But I work for a company, and I'm pretty sure my boss is listening to this, so I don't want to get this wrong. Um, I work for a company, Flagstar Football, and one thing or two things really that we always encourage in the kids every single time we do a promo day or any kind of practice, we always tell them make mistakes and get better. Some of the kids always say having fun is a rule. You can't really have fun as a rule. I don't know who told y'all that. But when I step onto the field, the one thing I always look for is mistakes. Because not every kid is perfect. DJ, you're not perfect. Leon's not perfect. Jasmine, Cole, Jay, they're not perfect. Everybody's going to make mistakes at some point. So that's the one thing I look for, because I want to see, okay, what am I working with? Because I'm not working with Calvin Johnson. I'm not working with Julio Jones. I'm not working with Jamal Charles. I'm not working for none of them. So when I see the mistakes, I always tell them, if I'm talking to a receiver, hey, when you're a receiver, put the foot that you're most dominant, put that foot back. So that way, when you bend down and you lean forward, you can explode off of your back leg, and that would give you more explosiveness off the line. Now, we do drills to help that kind of stuff out. But we also do more drills of catching, route running. I made a drill for my kids during the weekends, and where I have them hit certain gaps. Now, there's no linemen in football or in flag football, but I have them say, hey, hit the outside gap, hit the inside gap, hit the inside left gap. And that's ABC for people who want to play tackle football. But I'll get into that later. But I have one more question for the fellas here today. Do you believe parents are way too invested in their kids playing sports? And when I say they're too invested, I mean when you see them yelling and screaming on the sidelines, when you see them kind of ripping them apart before, after the game, during the game, and how do you think parents should go about talking to their kids when they make a mistake, or should they say anything at all? DJ, let's start with you on this one.
Well, like you said, I mean, apart from it being invested, as parents, I feel like in a parent's mindset, it's always their goal to see their kids strive and be the greatest. So if a father, for example, sees that his son loves the game of football, is passionate about it, wants to get into it to the point where now he's in his room on YouTube watching football drills, plays. He's working out like a football player. As a father, you're thinking, oh, man, I got to get my kid on the football team with his school so this kid can strive. And you go to his first game and he doesn't play so hot, oh, man. So when you pull your kid to the side, you can get on your kid about certain things they didn't do, but I feel like as a parent, you should do it in a way where they won't understand what you're saying. They don't feel too pressured, but also it motivates and it pushes them to continue to strive and not give up, because some kids have a tendency to give up fast on a dream before they even fully get their foot in the water. You can't just dip your toe in the pool and never dive in. You'll never learn how to swim. You'll drown. You got to learn how to get in there and tread the water, paddle so that you won't drown. It's the same with the game of football, same with sports in general. You always want to push your kid to really get out there, really, and invest in yourself, because I also look at this as a self-investment. Like, you're investing in yourself to see how much of your time, your skill, your effort can you put into something so that for a fact that it's your passion. I always tell people, always push, 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 regardless of how hard things get. Because if it's something you really love to do, then put all the time, anytime you get, learn some new drills, learn a new strategy, learn just different kind of things. So parents being invested, yelling, routing at their kids, it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing, but it's all on how a parent does it, because how a parent treats a kid is how a kid is going to perform out of school. How a father trains and pushes his son is going to determine what kind of son is going to be on the football field the next game. Is there going to be a dog, or is there going to be a beast? Is there going to be a guy that's just out there killing, running plays, blocking people, middle receiver, quarterback throwing plays, not missing nobody? You know, you want to look at your son, look at your kid, and be like, you know what? If you're going to raise a beast, then that's what you got to do. If you want to raise someone that's like, only wants to do this position, do that. But however you want your kid to strive, and however that kid wants themselves to strive, that's what should be on both the mindsets. That should be the ultimate goal here.
That is a great answer right there, DJ. If you ask me, I do see parents getting a little bit too invested into their kids because they see how much their kid wants to play in that sport, but I don't think they ever ask, do you want to play that sport professionally? Do you want to play in that sport in the long term? Is that what you want the career to be? What I only see in the youth sports. Sometimes I see in the high school sports too. But what I see in the youth sports is grown men, grown women yelling at children and saying, you missed your block. You didn't run the right route. You didn't catch. You're putting way, way too much pressure on them for one mistake. Let them make mistakes. Let them learn what they're doing wrong. Now, I'm not saying don't be stern with them. But what I'm saying is don't yell at your kids in front of 30, 50 other people. And now you're making them seem like, oh, well, I suck. And so if they don't come back, then whose fault is that? If your kid doesn't want to come back, then whose fault is that? Okay. So now, Leon, moving on. Go ahead, Leon.
Here's one thing that I want to add, that and I've coached two sports primarily, basketball and racquetball. And what I've found in basketball is every parent, no matter how good they were, if they played it or not, they think they're a coach and they start telling their kids what to do, how to do it, right? Racquetball is not an easy sport to play. When you look at it, oh, the ball's going to get hit to the front, it's going to bounce, I'm going to hit it back. It's not easy. Most of the parents of the kids that I coach have never played racquetball before. Most of them have never played. They can't even have a conversation about you didn't do. However, when I come off the court with a kid and I hear a parent say, well, you should have got that one that went to the corner. You should have got that one. I say, do you play? Usually the answer is no. And I go, this sport's pretty hard. I'll tell you what, here's some eye guards. You come on the court with me. Come on, let's go. And I get them on the court and I give mom and dad simple shots and they struggle to hit the ball if they hit it at all. They're huffing and puffing and sweating. And I say, you see, mom, dad, this sport's not as easy as it looks, right? All right, good. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to walk outside the court and you're going to say to little Johnny, little Susie, you did a good job. Okay. And I don't want to hear anything other than you did a good job come out of your mouth the next time you bring them here. Got it? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, good. Go. Love you. See you later. Right? Everybody thinks they know. They don't know. I don't know. And I think it comes from the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball mentality, where every Monday after a game, there's just all these talk shows and everybody's got their opinion, right? That's where I think it comes from. But I don't deal in that in racquetball. You a parent gonna run your mouth about a kid's not being good? Ooh, no, 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 no. We're gonna show you how hard that game is.
Yeah, trust me. I've seen a lot of things as I'm coaching, and even like siblings of the players that I coach. I'll ask them like, "Hey, you want to be the quarterback out there? Do you wanna like go on the line? Do you wanna see how hard it is? Like, bro, I know how hard it is, but like I'm trying to play in high school. I'm like, okay, that's cool and all, but these are little kids. I want you to whatever you're telling me, go tell them and see if they understand it. I'm talking about the understand of a child that's in first, second grade. Can you tell a child um the way you get open on a dig route is that you have to plant your foot at 5 steps and dig in? Tell me if a kid understands that. But the best thing a kid will understand is um, run straight forward and turn around or something. If I'm coaching my kids, right, I'm gonna give you a little bit of insight of how I coach. If I ever tell my kids do a go route, like do a go route, a streak, the same thing. I say count to 2 in your head and look back at me, but don't stop running. You want to keep running, but the minute you count 2 in your head or you hear the ref say 2, look back at me and I'm gonna throw it. If I'm teaching a kid how to do a slant route, I'll say count 2 steps, 1, 2, and on that third step, when you take that third step, cut inside. And the minute you look at me, I'm throwing the ball at your chest. I'm not gonna throw it in front of you. I'm not gonna throw it on top of you. I'm gonna put it right there in your chest. You're gonna catch it, and you're gonna do what you do. But if a kid doesn't listen to me, and they're doing something completely different. If I tell them to do a go route and they don't move, if I tell them to do a slant route and they're over by the back of the end zone, I always tell them, hey, good job. I'm proud of you for trying, but let's go over where you were wrong. I know what you did right, and I love the enthusiasm. I love the bravado that you're giving me, but we have to go over what you did wrong. Okay? So one last question before we get up out of here. I want to get in the mindset of my guest for a second, and also the audience. Audience, if you ever want to join the conversation, you can join in the comment section below. And if you ever miss any previous episodes, like this recording, I'm gonna post this recording all over my social media so you can be able to see it later. But if you ever miss any previous shows, recordings, live shows, you can always go on to my Twitter. That's Big Dog Ant 4. That's Big DAWG Ant 4. I'm gonna also post some shorts on my Instagram. That's Clutchy Ant with 2 Y's. And I'm gonna also post on my LinkedIn and my YouTube. If you want to have any questions or any suggestions, any future shows, you can email me at anthonygreenfield9@gmail.com. So, my last question, Leon and DJ, either of you can go first. If you had a son or a daughter, and they come up to you and they say, "Dad, I want to start a sport. I want to play basketball, football, soccer, tennis, whatever." What is the very first question that you're going to ask your child? DJ, let's start with you.
As a father, of course, I'm gonna say proud of you because, and it's not easy making those kind of decisions. It's kind of like when you want to decide what career path you want to do. It's very hard because there's so many things you can get into out in this world. So my son asks me or tells me, "Hey, Dad, I want to get into football." I'm firstly gonna say that's great. My first question is, what motivated you to get into the sport? What was your inspiration? Like, what sparked that flame in you to say, you know what, I want to kill it on the field? Matter of fact, I want to take it a step further. I want to kill it so bad on the field that one day I'm going to make it on the NFL team. When a kid tells me stuff like that as a parent, that automatically tells me, you know what, I'm going to invest everything I know about this sport, and as a father and as a motivator, as a coach, to make sure my son accomplishes that goal. So as a father, as a parent, I'm going to ask them, yeah, what got you into this? And on top of that, I would also ask them, how much willing are you going to be to get to that goal? What is your goal getting into football? What do you want? Where do you want to see yourself? Do you want to make it to professional football? Is this just something you want to do on the side? Do you really want to go full time with this, or it's a lifestyle? Those would be like the two main questions I ask, because I generally want to know, like, what motivated you? What was going through your mind? And once I know that, then I'll ask, okay, but are you willing to put in the work to get to this point? because a dream without work is simply just a thought. That's all it is. You just saying all these things, but you ain't willing to put in that work. You're not willing to put in that time, invest in it. Be on that field 5 in the morning running drills, catching and throwing the ball. So as a father, that's the main thing I would want to know. What got you into this, and are you willing to really put in that work? Because if you're willing to do it, then I'm gonna be willing to push you to be on that sideline, pushing you as a father, not getting in your face, getting all aggressive, blaming you for my life problems. No. I'm gonna push you. Like, we're gonna help each other but ultimately the goal is to help you be a better version of yourself and accomplish that goal, that dream.
Great idea, DJ. It definitely sounds like if your child wants to play sports, then they'll be in good hands. Leon, talk to me. It's your turn. If your
All right.
child came up to you and said they want to join sports, what's the first question you're asking?
It's happened. I have two sons, right? And I've experienced this. And here's how I handled it. And I'll tell you some brief stories about both of them. Our older son, when I coached high school basketball, he went with me to every game. He went with me to camps, and he was a horrible basketball player. He was bad, but he loved being around the game. He loved it. And so much so that he became a manager of his high school team with a good friend of mine that was the head coach of the high school that he went to, and he had a great experience in sports, although he wasn't a good player. As a coach, I never forced him to play. Never did I say you have to play. He liked going with us. I never pushed it on him. Now, the sport that son became really good at, number two in the state, is in high school, was tennis. So we go and play tennis a couple of times, and he's hitting the ball backwards. He's not hit, yeah, I'm talking, he's hitting it backwards. And he says to me, I'm going to go out for the high school tennis team. I'm like, what? And I said, okay, good, let's go. Go get it. He got better. He got better. He kept improving. He kept improving. We signed him up for private lessons. He kept improving. He kept improving. Became number two in the state. When he said he wanted to play tennis, I inside I said, "What? Him tennis?" But I said, "Okay, let's go. I hope you're successful at it." Our other son never showed an interest in sports.
Mm.
None. Never. None. No interest in sports. He goes to school, and the school that he went to from middle school and high school is combined grades 6 to 12. He goes to sixth grade. I go to pick him up one day from school. He says, don't pick me up tomorrow at 3:30. Why not? He says, I got football practice. Huh?
Yeah, wait,
He ends up playing
Yeah.
all through high school, right? After football practice, right, when the football season ended, he said, yeah, I'm going to do wrestling. I'm going to be a wrestler. Huh? Why? Where's this coming from? Okay, great. Let's go. Wrestling camp. Great. Let's do it, right? Then after wrestling season ended, he said, I'm going to do rugby. I'm going to play rugby.
yeah,
So
he a
here's a kid
multi-sport athlete.
that goes from nothing to suddenly he's playing three sports. And rugby, I'm telling you, you're a little cuckoo to play rugby. You're missing something ain't right. You're out there tackling each other, and it's a my first time watching rugby. Two kids hit their heads together like this and fell backwards. I'm like, oh no, this is not the way to be. Now, let's continue on with that son. So where he used to do his homework, his computer, the lid, the top of his laptop faced me and my wife. So we assume he's doing homework, but we're like, why is he up till 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning doing homework? He wasn't. He was watching football film, right? The
He
coaches the
invested.
coaches told us he
Oh,
Yeah.
I
logged
remember
more
telling you
hours
to do
watching
that.
film than anybody else on the team combined, right? He got into it. That was his thing. And I never said to them, "Oh, you got to go because I'm a racquetball coach. I'm a basketball coach." but they found their path, and they both had fun doing it, had somewhat success in doing it, and that made me happy as a parent to see them happy at what they were doing.
Well, there was a great answers from both of you. I can say for me that if I had a son or a daughter and they came up to me and they said, "Dad, I want to play football. I want to play basketball. I want to do gymnastics." I would say, "Okay, so what thought got you in there?" I'm not gonna say no. I would never say no. I'm gonna say, "Hey, look, let's try it out. If you're good, let's keep going. If you're not good, do you want to find a replacement? Do you want to find a substitute?" Because me personally, I don't want my kid to sit in the house all day. I don't want my kid messing up and saying, yeah, I'm just gonna stay in my room all day. I'm just gonna stay in the house. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna eat your food, take up your air, and just using up your water and electricity bill." No, you're not doing that. You're gonna be at this house doing something. But I'm pretty sure a lot of my parents out there and a lot of people that grew up a certain way, they know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I would definitely let my son and my daughter make mistakes in asking, what do you want to do when it comes to playing sports? I'm not gonna be like one of those parents to say, you better do this right. You better do this right. No, I'm not doing that. I'm letting you make mistakes. If you want to run forward, let's say it's a son, right? If he gets the ball and he runs forward and he gets a flag for, right? Say he's playing flag football. If he does that, I'm like, all right, cool, good try. If it's my daughter, she's playing basketball. If she crosses up somebody but misses the shot, I'm like, hey, good move, but we're gonna work on the shot. We're gonna work on the finish. I love how you started. Now let's see how to finish. Okay.
All
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
I
yeah.
I I
You know what I'm talking about. You know what it's
I
talking
I,
about. Hit
I
that, hit
gotta
him, and then just pull up that shot. Look, she
I gotta share please. I gotta share these two
will.
stories with you. All right, so in high school, right? Um, at the end of the game, you know how teams intentionally foul you, right? And they get you on the foul line, so hopefully you miss your foul shot, right? And they get the ball. So I get intentionally fouled, and I miss a foul shot. We lose the game. 2 days later, I get intentionally fouled. I miss a foul shot. We lose the game. It's like 15 degrees out. The outdoor courts are icy. My mom woke me up and said, "Come on, let's go. We're going to go practice foul shots. We're going. We're going. You're not going to sit up there and miss any more foul shots. Oh, we're going to practice." Like, "Mom, no, it's 15. I don't care how cold it is. You're going to learn to make these foul shots. You're making these
I don't
foul
care
shots.
how
Come on,
cold
let's
it
go."
is.
I'll stand there and she didn't even know the terms, right? She's like, "I'll stand there and grab the ball. I'll rebound it for you or whatever." She's like, "Come on, oh, we getting up. We getting up." Right? And I had to make, I don't know, maybe I had to make 25 shots or whatever it was, right? So the next game, right? I hear her go, come on, Lee, and she claps, right? They foul me. I get to the line. She goes, "Just like we practiced, let's go." Swish, swish. Right? Now, the other one, I never played football. Never. Never played football. Where I grew up, you had to be in an age and weight classification. So
Mhm.
if you were 10 and you weighed more than whatever, 100 pounds, you had to play with older kids. And my dad wanted me to play safely. Safely, not safety, safely. So he wouldn't let me play. So here I am in high school, my first day in high school, first day, and I'm lost. I don't know where room 323 is. I go up to this guy. I say, "Hey, man, excuse me. Can you tell me where room 323 is?" And he goes, "Where you been?" I said, "Yeah, I've been looking for room 323. The bells rang now. I'm late." He goes, "No, where you been? We've been practicing for 3 weeks now." Like, basketball starts already? He goes, "No, man, football, football." And he puts his arm around me. He puts his arm around me. I think
Why?
he's taking me to 323, right? No, he took me down to the football coaches meeting and goes, "Look what I found." And they're like, "Where you been? Where you been?" I'm like, "I don't play football. I don't play." And they go, "Oh, come on, you're going to play." So the head coach, the guy's name is Hal Sparks, right?
Look
His
at
name
us.
is Hal Sparks. I saw him a couple years ago, and every time we see each other, we joke about this, right? He goes, "You looking for room 323?" I mean, we still it's on the front of our minds. He's like 90 something years old. Now check it out. So that day, he said to me, he goes, "What's your name?" I go, "Leon Thomas." Now I'm not thinking about it. He goes through the little paper list of students, right? He goes through the little paper list, and he says, "Is Clinton your father?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I know your dad. You go home and tell your dad you met me and you're going to play football starting tomorrow." I said, "All right." I go home. "Hey, Dad, I met Coach Sparks. I'm going to play football." And Pops is reading the paper. He goes, "Uh-huh, yeah." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I have to have cleats." He goes, "Come on, let's go get some cleats." We go get cleats. We come back. We have to put the uniforms on. I've never played football before. I don't know where to put the gear. I don't know how to put shoulder pads on. I know nothing. And we're
Mhm.
doing a drill that I later find out is called an Oklahoma drill, where I have to fight off a block and make a tackle.
Oh,
This,
those are
this
the best ones. Oh, those
no,
are the best ones.
those things should be outlawed. From my
I
experience, those things
love
should be out of
Oklahoma.
here.
Listen, as an old lineman, I love Oklahoma
Those
drills.
things
And,
should be outlawed.
and when I
This
tell
little
you, they said, look, they would say, Greenfield, get on the line. I would have a ball in my hand. The first thing I thought, I said, if I see you in front of me, you're done. You're
Anthony,
done.
this little kid had that mentality that you have. He was about, I don't know, 4'11" and maybe 90 pounds. He came up to me, bam, knocked me down, right? And everybody's going, whoo, whoo, whoo. They're all yelling and stuff.
Oh,
You've seen people go talk to the hand.
oh
I
yeah.
invented that because I got up and said,
Fire.
"I'm not playing football anymore." And I went like this, and the coach is going, "Thomas, get back here." I
Nah.
got changed. I got changed, called home. My mom answered the phone. I said, "Can you have dad come pick me up? I'm ready to go." She said, "He's already there, baby." I'm like, "But
uh,
practice wasn't supposed to end for like another hour and a half." He's already there. My father was already waiting. And later on, as I got older, he said, "I knew you weren't going to like it, but it wasn't my job to tell you no, but I knew
yeah.
it wasn't for you. I wanted you to try it. It wasn't
Yes.
my job to tell you." He told
Yeah,
me that and I got older. He said, "That's why I was there. I knew you weren't going to like it, but I didn't want to hinder you." So all the parents, you know, let the kid give it a try. So anyway, that's my story. No more stories for me. I'm done. I could go on forever. No more stories for me.
Yeah, yeah. I was just ready to tell you that, Leon. We can all three of us can sit here for hours, days, and just go on about story for story, what happened in high school and rec league for us. But that is actually the end of the show. And I just want to say that there's a lot of madness out there. Hey, can I get my single shot, please? Can I get my single shot? I don't want these two. Get them up out of here. Thank you. So this is a mad world out here, and this is only one of the massive problems that you're going to see. Men's mental health is not talked about enough. Youth sports is getting out of control. There's a lot more problems going out in the world. But guess what? I will always be here to talk about it. If you want to talk about it too, then let me tell you how to. I will be posting this show on my Twitter on Big Dog Ant, Big DAWG Ant 4. I'll be posting some stuff on my Instagram, Clutchy Ant with 2 Ys. And if you ever want to have a suggestion, if you ever have a question that you want to ask, you can email me at anthonygreenfield9@gmail.com. I will also put my YouTube. I also streaming this on YouTube and LinkedIn. So if you ever want to join the comment section and join the conversation, you're free. You're free to. I seen all the comments that came up. It's just Leon was talking and he had a funny story. I didn't want to interrupt him, but it's a mad world out there, and I want everybody to stay blessed, stay safe, stay passionate. I see you next week, guys.